Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. 5 things that we learned watching England draw against the USA. I've just finished doing Vibe with 5 with Gary Lineker, Rio, Joel. And Gary Lineker's got an interesting, it's not a mega interesting perspective. It's quite an obvious perspective that Southgate's been pragmatic or boring. And I understand what he's saying. And basically by not losing that game, England essentially qualify. And because they've qualified, you're in the hat for the next round. And on one hand, I go, actually, yeah, Joe, what, completely fair. Tournament football is about progressing to the next round. That's fine, and that's a perfectly acceptable sort of thing. I think what Southgate's suffering from in a massive, massive way is that he has set an expectation with the performance against Iran. And then the performance wasn't there, and there's a couple of reasons for that, I think. One of the major reasons is, one, playing the exact same 11, and actually the second point kind of leads into this as well. Harry Kane picking up a knock, why not rest him? Gareth Southgate's insistence on continually playing the same players again and again and again has completely closed the door on some talent in the England squad. And that, for me, is the most frustrating part of watching him manage that England side, is I think he's squandering the opportunities that they've got. Now, England, in my opinion, didn't need to try and draw with America. England, I think, could have played to their potential, took the game to America, played with an intensity and a press which was just not there whatsoever, and actually gone and done something in that game. And I think in tournament football, momentum's massive. And I think now England have to try and lift themselves up against Wales, who are going to be mad up for it, and try and get another, not just a positive result, because ultimately, yes, if you just keep getting positive results and shit performances, you become the world champions. But I think that then comes down in a massive way to luck, and I don't think you can rely on luck. I think you have to rely and fall back on performance, and that's where I think England always will struggle. You know, they got through to the semi-finals and the finals, as everyone keeps lauding, on the back of not great performances, squeaking through on penalties, you know, some quite dull performances. Yes, it was effective, but the level of performance, in my opinion, just wasn't there. So, first one, Southgate's tactics is point number 1. I think it was very clear from his substitutions that he either didn't have the confidence in the players or in himself to be able to make changes that impact the team in a positive way. I don't think he's got it in him to gamble and push and chase for a game. We've never seen him do that as a manager. We've never seen him do that with this England team. We've never seen him see something happening in a game, immediately change it, fix it, and put the team on the offensive. He is far more likely to try and hold on to something. And I don't think that mentality suits that group of players. I think that group of players is a talented group of players. That group of players, with their clubs, almost to a man, are competing for both the Premier League and the Champions League. Or if they're not, they're like Trippier and they're pushing to get into Champions League football. That's what he's got in his squad. But he's playing them like they're a top 25 side rather than a top 6 or 7 side. And that's why I think there's a jarring. This is a team that should be capable of pushing for a semi-final spot. But they'll probably fall short of that. And I think they'll fall short of that because of the tactics. I mean, bringing Henderson on, the absolute lack of press, is that because Harry Kane's in the side? Do you not trust Harry Kane to be the one that's putting people under pressure at the other end? What is that? Because all of the rest of the players are playing in extremely press-heavy sides. Number 2, are England just not as good as they thought, or is this, again, down to the manager? USA arguably had the better chances in the game, and more frequent chances. I'll link this back in. Harry Maguire was man of the match, but Harry Maguire was man of the match because he was having to defend. USA took the game to England. England didn't take the game to USA. If you're an England fan, that's got to be extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. How are you getting schooled by the United States. How is the home of the Premier League, the original international side, getting schooled by what is essentially a minor sport in the United States? That's ridiculous. And yes, all right, America's a much bigger place, but that's still ridiculous. Uruguay's got like as many people as Manchester or Birmingham in it, I think. It's tiny gaff. It's outperforming. That's my whole problem with England and Gareth Southgate on the whole, is they're not outperforming who they are. If anything, they're falling short of exactly who they are. America can play. I was impressed with Dest. Weir's good. I don't think Pulisic really did a hell of a lot, in all honesty. I think he's just a name that most American fans sort of know and can latch onto. But yeah, I thought Dest was having a lot of joy. And they played some nice patterns and they played some nice football and they tried to win the game. And that was what I don't get the feeling that England tried to win the game last night. It felt like America actually pushed and actually tried to win the game. And I know that they're doing some bits and they have a completely different sort of system when it comes to creating youngsters in America. And maybe there's an arrogance in England that we know what we're doing and we do it right. Well, I think you can maybe look, I was going to say smaller nations, but certainly not a smaller nation in any sort of aspects of the word, is it? Maybe they can look at some of these other nations and how they're bringing through youngsters and how they're developing youngsters and see if there's anything that can be learned from them. The technical ability on display throughout the South Korea side was arguably, I mean, England got a great generation coming through now, but like the technical level on display, I think was extremely high. I think South Korea were unfortunate. They didn't have anything really going on in the final third. Otherwise, they'd have absolutely demolished Uruguay. You know, Japan had an incredible performance. We saw Saudi Arabia put in a fantastic performance. Not a team technically blessed, or certainly not as technically blessed as England, but they were tactically drilled and they knew exactly what they were doing. Can you look at this England side and see patterns and shapes and know exactly what they're trying to do? What is Gareth Southgate's philosophy? I could see the American team's philosophy, I could see what they were trying to do, and I just think they fell short in maybe a little bit of experience and a little bit of ability in the end. England were just hanging on. What's all that about? Number 4, I think it was a chance missed to qualify on the spot after the second game. You get the second win, you're done, and they're pretty much done anyway. I don't know if it's certain. It is. I think it pretty much is certain that England have qualified now, haven't they, with the point. But I think it was an opportunity to put a real marker down. There's been some good performances in match day 1. Obviously, we're only just getting into match day 2 now. But after scoring 6 goals against Iran, I think there was an opportunity there for England to sort of put people on notice a little bit and be like, you know, we have some techie players, and you know, finalists and semi-finalists in recent tournaments. People should have been looking at England and perhaps being a little bit wary. If you watch the team regularly, you're probably not going to have that level of confidence in them, but I think it would have been a fair assumption that people were looking at them and thinking, there's something going on there, might have to be a bit wary of them. And when you've got the likes of Benzema dropping out, you've got Neymar's going to miss a few games, potentially going to be back for the knockout stages, there isn't a standout, and obviously Argentina losing. Outside of France, and even France have lost a lot of players, who is there that is running away with this World Cup? Because it doesn't appear like anybody is, and that's the frustration watching England. Is you go, you've got an opportunity to do something here, but you're probably going to throw it away on this widge of a manager. And finally, Harry Maguire, man of the match. Clearances, headers. I think he looks okay on the ball at international level because the tempo is weirdly slow. I'm wondering if when England play Wales, if it'll look like a British game, if the tempo will be of a British game, because the tempo that England played at against America, that couldn't have been an English decision to try and play at that tempo, because it made no sense for them to try and do that, and it didn't look like they were in control of it. It was so slow, so ponderous, and I don't think it suits the English players. I think the Premier League is the tempo it is because it's still, you know, heavily influenced by England and English players, and I think that British football on the whole is a bit of a brutal tempo and a bit of a brutal intensity, and I think that's what is a massive bonus trait. And I think the reason that you see a lot of the clubs in England doing so well in the Champions League is because of the intensity and the speed of play. Yet England are coming out here and trying to, I don't even know what they're trying to do, ball the piss out of everyone. And I think that's the worst thing you can say, be accused of being boring. Anyway, that's my 5 things we learned from England. I'm off to Dubai today to go and hang out with Uncle Pat again. If you haven't seen that video on 5, go check it out. I'm not sure what game I'm going to next. Hopefully England-Wales, because I really wanted to see Wales. I actually had a ticket to go watch Wales against Iran yesterday, but I had some work to do. But yeah, we'll see which games I can get myself to next. I was supposed to be going to Argentina, Mexico, which is today, but I've got a flight to Dubai, so I can't actually make it. But I'm enjoying myself so far. I want to go and experience as many of the different teams as I can. I don't just want to watch England for obvious reasons. I want to go and see how many games I can catch. But, just tune in, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.
Just a quick one before I go. If you would like to get your hands on some very, very special Paddock FC merch, we have got 2 pieces that are complete limited edition. And when I say limited edition, I don't think I can stress just how limited edition they are, and they're absolutely mega. They're so fresh. I haven't even got my own yet. I've got some saved for myself, don't worry. But they're super, super limited edition. They will be the only ones that we do. It's a Paddock and Puma collaboration, totally custom stuff just for us. So if you want your hands on them, they are very, very limited. There's literally like a handful in each size, so don't delay. If you want to get your hands on them, they look mega. Check the link in the description.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.